a team that is performing in a manner that is above average, in fact, at championship level pace. Orlando Pirates came through in the previous weekend with a 1-0 win against Polokwane City, Chuck, which means after 20 games, they have 46 points. And this is the 10th occasion where a team has collected 45 or more points in 20 games in PSL history. And the 8 previous occasions, I'll leave out the 9th. The 8 previous occasions where it has happened, that team has gone on to win the league title. The 9th and 10th occasions were, the 9th was Sundowns this season, the 10th being Pirates now. So one of them is going to win the league. So 9 out of the 10 times it's going to have happened, and 1 out of the 10 times this season it won't have happened. What is also true with the Orlando Pirates is they've now accumulated 15 wins in the PSL, whereas all of last season they only got to the 14 mark. And Chuck, I want to ask this question because we come into every season, who's going to challenge Sundowns? And the answer invariably is Orlando Pirates. And yet, if Orlando Pirates do not manage to win the PSL title this season, this particular season, do they have a valid excuse considering the numbers and the pace that they are on?
Valid excuse. That's the way to put it. I want to say yes, because if you break your ceiling, perform better than what you've been doing over the last couple of years, you've made some substantial progress, because there's still about 10 games to go. They're obviously going to smash through that particular record. I don't think they get like another 3 or 6 points. They're going to absolutely smash that by even like 10 points or more.
Sorry, Chuck. I have to come in here. I have to come in here because the thing is, I have experience where this is concerned. Yeah. And by this, I mean, like, I've had conversations with you, multiple conversations around multiple topics where sport is concerned or football is concerned. Yeah. And I know your positions, right? And this has not been your position before. When Manchester City are concerned, you have said you need to find a way. You've said you need to find a way. Like, if they're going to put up 99 points, you put up 100. If they're going to put up 100, you put up 101.
I get you. I've not finished establishing my point.
Please, okay. I'm sorry because I'm listening to you and I'm waiting for you to say what I've heard you say before. It's like, I need Chuck to stand on business, even though it is Orlando Pirates, the team that he supports.
And go ahead. And Chuck can also change his mind mid conversation, etc. But here's what I'm saying.
That does happen.
It does happen, right? I'm saying if they've plateaued and yet again it's the same old Pirates, like 50 points smashed by Sundowns over and over again, then you're like, guys, what's happening here, right? Hence why we started to say that, guys, the cups are nice, but we need to get the league. But here's the thing, Joey. As much as they've broken ground and they've broken new ground, they've smashed through the records. They're on course to get to like a record number of points. The truth of the matter is, you knew what was at stake. This is the Rulani, this is the Piso Musamani / Cardoso Sundowns, where you have to get 60 points plus to even compete. And knowing the landscape, it's not like all of a sudden we've been getting like 50 points, and all of a sudden this season so 70 like 50 70. We've known the bar for at least 2 or 3 seasons, and so for that reason, Jay, the league was always going to be at 70 points plus or high 60s, to be honest. So that's the wording of the question, excuse, because if you break your personal records, you can't say that your failings need to be accompanied by an excuse. You tried your best. But given in terms of what it takes, and you knew what it takes, it's like going to a track meet and you know what it takes to break the world record. You can't say, but I won the race. If you were aiming for the world record, you know what the numbers are. And so going to this season, I don't think any of us thought to ourselves that, because Mangoba's at the helm, Sundowns are going to win the league with 55 points. None of us thought that. We thought Sundowns of the players, Sundowns have the continuity. You're going to need 60 plus points to win something. So on that count, Jay, excuse is such a hard word. I don't like that particular word.
Say it.
But yeah, I don't think it will still suffice, because it's the same as the other seasons. It'll be a mirror copy of the other seasons in terms of you've got your MTN8, maybe you're on course for the Nedbank Cup, but you're far in the league. So if we do that yet again, you can't excuse that. It's harsh, but you can't.
It's valid for me. And this has been my position, right? And it's not just a matter of, well, if you lose, you lose. But the thing is, if the other team is putting up record numbers, and if what you are doing is historic, or rather is congruent to other champions historically, then I don't know how much more we can ask of you.
But other champions historically, how many years back? That's my whole argument.
The thing is, every other iteration of the PSL season, except for when Sundowns have been putting up 70 plus points. Chuck, it's not normal what Sundowns are doing. It's not normal what they've been doing. So this is not the seasons where Sundowns, for example, in the bubble where Kaizer Chiefs choked that away on the last day, or when Pirates had the opportunity going to the last two games. I forgot which season exactly it is, but I believe
it's one season prior to that.
I think it might be, yes.
Yeah.
But Sundowns had about 61 points, I believe, 60 or 61 points in that particular season. That's different to if Sundowns are putting 70 points on the board, or they are putting 73 points as they did last season. Man, to ask any other team to go out there and get 74, 75 points is hard. Like, it's the same thing as I'm saying with Manchester City, where if they have 99 points and you have 97 points, you cannot be asking a team to get 100 to win the league. And I recognize that would be the requirement, right? But it's just a bar too far for me. Like, in terms of like where I can excuse it. See, when Pirates are finishing 23 points behind Sundowns, I can't excuse that. Mm-hmm. But and the thing is, maybe you can make the argument that it's mediocre to say, well, can they just close the gap? Well, if they only 13 points or 8 points behind, that's a bit better. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when every single time, right, where the data tells us, where the metrics tell us, where the numbers tell us, where facts, it's facts. This is not a feeling. These are facts that every single time when 20 games were played and a team had 45 or more points, as Pirates do have this season, they have gone on to win the league. If the one time where it doesn't happen, that is the definition of an anomaly. This is the exception. And that's the thing about an exception. It's not something that happens all the time. In that one, it literally is going to be 1 out of 10 times. The 1 out of 10 times where it has happened that the team hasn't won, I can't look at them and say, you should have done much more, when you've done what history tells us is required to win the PSL title. Because after 20 games, Pirates are on 46 points. And if we did have 30 games this season, which it doesn't look like we'll probably have 28 games for each team because of Royal AM, they would have been on pace for 69 points after 30 games. The highest number of points a team has gotten without winning the league titles, Chiefs, with 63 points. Now, if you put 6 more points over that, and as I'm saying, if you're knocking on the door of 70 points, which is a mark that has only been breached by one team, not one time, but by one team, only Sundowns have been over the 70 mark point in PSL history. The record before that was 69 points. So if Orlando Pirates put up the most points by a team not named Sundowns in PSL history in a 30-game season, and they don't win the league, I can't ask them to do much more than that. The other team is just too much of a juggernaut, because before the loss against Orlando Pirates and Bas Bambel, right, in the second game against Sundowns in the league, Sundowns were tracking for around 80 points. You can't do much about that. There's not much you can do about that, Chuck.
Right? Except Bas Bambel. But as much as we're talking about that, Jane, Pirates are at a level where we drop points at Stellies, we're genuinely disappointed because we know what it takes and we know what this team is capable of. We dropped points against Cape Town City. We're disappointed because we know that we're chasing Sundowns, we're on track, we're close enough. So Jay, that's what the bar is, Jay. And whether it's a blessing or whether it's a curse, they just so happen to exist in the era of this magnificent Sundowns side, and they must do what it takes to knock them down. I mean, for instance, right, let's go to other sports, Jay. In tennis, you keep saying to me that Sinner's right is good, but every time Alcaraz comes, he just doesn't show it. And so my point is, whether Sinner is good or not, he needs to learn how to knock down Alcaraz for the sake of the rivalry. Even before their time, Jay, in the era of Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal, obviously, most of those Grand Slams went to the three of those guys. But that's what it took to win a Grand Slam. If you want the US Open, you're going to face one of those three guys. You want the Roland Garros, it's one of those guys. Blessing or cursing, that's what it takes. You can't then say, I've won, outside of those guys, I've won 500 ATP, 500 titles, I'm great. No. Did you do it when it was against Federer? Did you do it against Djokovic? No. So that's why your name is not on the honors list. So, Jay, that's the same thing with us. So, blessing or cursing, the PSL, I mean, I saw a tweet one time that says when the PSL was fine. That's when Paris was ahead, I think, with Ajax below us with like goal difference or whatever. Like, yeah, it was fun then, but we were getting 50-something points. Now the gauntlet has changed. Now the bar has been raised. And Pirates is up to it because they show that they can. I mean, we're on course for a record number of points. Sharp. Sundowns were on schedule to go on to 8 until we did our thing. My point is this, Jewuti. Yeah, errors come to an end. It's not good for us as fans to wait it out because this is dominance. We have to pull them down ourselves. That's the only thing I'm saying. We have to make it happen ourselves. If it takes 100 points to beat Pep, get 100 points. It's impossible.
You don't simply go get 100 points, Chuck. If I revisit the tennis analogy, for me, it's not just those guys are winning Grand Slams. It's Rafael Nadal on clay. That prior to him,
which is not normal, right?
The most Roland Garros titles was 6, and then the guy has got 14. So if guys walk in there and lose against him, I can accept that. I can accept that, like in his absolute pomp. It's the same thing as when Mourinho's Real Madrid, I think, scored 100 goals and had, I think they also had like 90 something points. Pep's Barcelona had 100 points, and it's like, what must they score 150 goals in the league? Like, what needs to happen? Like, Messi is scoring 73 goals. Like, must Ronaldo score 75? Like, I cannot be asking guys to be doing extraterrestrial stuff when there's already a team that is doing that. Like, it's a rare to almost impossible thing that you've got two teams or two entities that are doing are putting up historical numbers at the same time. If the one team is putting up historical numbers and then you are doing something similar but just at a level below, but it's still considered historical, and you can't get there, that's because sometimes the bar is in the sky, Chuck.
I think
it's in the sky at the moment.
I agree with you. The bar's in the sky, right? But I think the reason why we revere and we lower the talents of Federer and Nadal and Djokovic is that they did it in the era of each other. If it was just Djokovic by himself, he'd dominate, he'd be great. But the fact that he did it whilst there was a Federer, whilst there was a Nadal, and vice versa, right?
Do you see what it took to break into the duopoly of Federer and Nadal? The guy then ended up being the greatest of all time. It's like, oh, okay.
If that's what it takes, Chad, because think about it, right? Whether you fall on the Messi side of the argument or the Ronaldo side of the argument, those guys pushed each other. That's why the last 15 years have dominated football, right? And whether you want to say Messi's got 7, he should have given others to Lewandowski, which is what I think. At the end of the day, at some point, winning just the league and 50 goals is not enough because the guy won the Champions League. Now you need to get a Champions League. Now you must get a Euro. Now you must get a Copa. Now you must get a World Cup. And at that level, you're like, okay, those guys are great.
Something you've never had to do before. That's the thing. And
that's in this era.
That's why Neymar suffers under the weight of, oh yeah, but he's not Messi or Ronaldo. Yes, he's not Messi or Ronaldo, but like you can't say, oh man, he didn't live up to, which is a whole other debate, right? Like my position is like, yeah, he didn't live up to expectations. Like, well, if absent of that, you look at that career, that's a glistening career. It's the same thing where Sundowns need to come back to the pack, Chuck.
How does that happen?
I don't think you can just go chase them down if they are still putting up 70 plus points on the board.
So if they don't self-destruct, it's impossible.
It's not impossible, right? But if it doesn't happen, if you do not get up to those numbers, it's valid for me because nobody else in history has been able to do that. So you are falling short of something that's never been done before. That's valid for me. What you actually are doing is something where in every season, in every single season, bar this one, if Sundowns do go on to get 70 plus points, whatever the case may be. Last season, the season before that, when it's 73 and it's 71 points, your points total would have been enough to win the league. I can't bemoan that you have not done enough. I can't say you should have done more. You should have done more to win the league, yes, but I can't look at that and say and categorize it similarly to the other seasons prior to that, where, well, I mean, Sundowns like have 59 points or 60 points and you couldn't do it. That's a different conversation to, well, over the average mark of around 60 points to win the league, they've gone and added 10, 15 more points, and then now the requirement is that you're asking for too much.
Then I mean, I can't be a fan.
Maybe not asking for too much, but as I'm saying, like I look at that and say it's valid. You really did what was your best and what was the best of everybody else historically, and you still couldn't do it. The bar is too high in that case.